and have a seat. It'll bring up comments. All right?
It's 7 o'clock?
No, it's 6:30. So, we live?
Well, it has a live on it, so I'm guessing.
All right. So, welcome. If you are watching this live on Facebook, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching us on replay with YouTube or Facebook later, thank you for giving us some views. And either way, give a thumbs up or a laughy face. You can even give a crying face. I think that's an option on Facebook.
Amen.
What?
Yeah, there's a crying face one.
Whatever.
I think there's a thumbs down.
You
There's
do
all kinds
you.
of those things. Also, just out of frame here, because he didn't want to dress up very nice, is Zayden and his buddy Tristan.
I'm lazy.
Who's hanging out with us tonight.
I'm lazy.
And we have Xander behind the camera. So he's going to be monitoring your comments and interactions and let me know. So, with that being said, want to give a shout out and a thank you to Pastor Dave and Diana Hutch at 6 Points for their support, and all of the rest of you guys watching this video. Without you, this is kind of pointless. So it's like that unsharpened pencil that your teacher would give you in school and say, "Here you go, get your work done." It doesn't have a point. So it is for that purpose. Also, I'm Timothy Holt. I think I mentioned that. But the main reason we're here is because this ancient writing called Proverbs, Book of Proverbs, is what we're going over. Usually Proverbs are of ancient origin, but a proverb simply is a poetic short saying that gives some type of wisdom or counsel for life. And if you're Jewish or if you're Christian, you might be familiar with this entire book of them called the Proverbs in the Old Testament. We've been going through this in youth group on Wednesday nights and Sunday morning Sunday school. On Wednesdays, we've been covering the even chapters. Last week, we covered chapter 22. So this week, we are covering chapter 24. If you have any questions, comments, or anything of that nature, please leave them in the comment section. And Mr. Xander will let us know.
Someone said good evening.
Okay, someone have a name? Is that their actual name?
No.
Because that would be cool.
Cheryl did.
Oh, hi, Cheryl.
I think.
Maybe Cheryl, you could change your avatar to someone.
I
would be cool.
I am blind. It could say someone else.
So, good evening. And before we get too in-depth in this, the disciples said to the churches in the New Testament, if there be any sick among you, let them stay home and call on the elders to come and pray for them, lay hands on them, that they will be healed. So we're going to do that. We're going to come to you and pray for you. And if you're sick or need prayer of any kind, let me know. And I would love to pray for you. But the key there is, if you're sick, stay home. So, God, you're an awesome God. Thank you so much for the song here in the background, as well as all of these great people. And if there's anyone sick or has an ailment, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, whether it's psychological, meet them where they're at right now. Amen. All right.
Hey, psst, psst, psst.
What?
Hey, the same exact person said hi.
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 To same exact person. All right. So, Proverbs is set up as a collection of wise sayings from the perspective of a dad giving advice to his young teenage son about becoming a man. So if you're a woman, if some of this sounds sexist, sorry I didn't write them a long time ago in a place far, far away. But it is from the perspective of a dad giving advice to his son. So keep that in mind while you're participating in this. Also, I will be using the New King James Version, English translation. If you have a different one that you like, let me know in the comments. Let me know why. And we will have that discussion, because I know each English translation has things worded slightly differently. A lot of the general text is very similar or the same, but some of the nuances are different, and we can explore that together. So, do not be envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them, for their heart devises violence, and their lips talk of troublemaking. Through wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong. Yes, a man of knowledge increases strength. For by wise counsel you will wage your own war, and in a multitude of counselors there is safety. Wisdom is too lofty for a fool. He does not open his mouth in the gate. He who plots to do evil will be called a schemer, and the devices of foolishness is sin, and the scoffer is an abomination to men. If you faint in the day of adversary, your strength is small. Deliver those who are drawn towards death, and hold back those stumbling to the slaughter. If you say, surely we will not know this, does not he who weighs the hearts consider it? He who keeps your soul, does he not know it? And will he not render to each man according to his deeds? My son, eat honey because it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to the taste. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be to your soul. If you have found it, there is a prospect, and your hope will not be cut off. Do not lie in wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not plunder his resting place. For a righteous man may fall 7 times and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and do not let your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord sees it, and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. Do not fret because of evildoers, nor be envious of the wicked, for there will be no prospect for the evil man. The lamp of the wicked shall be put out. My son, fear the Lord and the king. Do not associate with the giver of change, for their calamity will rise suddenly, and who knows the ruin those two can bring. These things also belong to the wise. It is not good to show partiality in judgment. He who says to the wicked, you are righteous, him the people will curse. Nations will abhor him. And those who rebuke the wicked will have delight, and a good blessing will come upon them. He who gives a right answer kisses the lips. Prepare your outside work. Make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterward build your home. Do not be a witness against your neighbor without cause. For would you deceive with your lips? Do not say, I will do to him just as he has done to me. I will render to the man according to his work. I went by the field of the lazy man, and by the vineyard of the man devoid of understanding. And there it was, all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with nettles. Its stone wall was broken down. When I saw it, I considered it well. I looked on it and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. So shall your poverty come like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. All right, so that's Proverbs 24. Zayden, what stuck out for you?
What stuck out to me personally, it was very demonic.
I don't think he was paying attention, folks.
No, I want to see. It was about don't be foolish. Listening.
Uh-huh. So, Proverbs, again, is written from that perspective of a father talking to his teenage son, giving him some advice. And he starts out this chapter with, do not be envious of evil men. And before we go much farther, there is something to review, and that's the term fool. It comes up a lot in Proverbs, especially in this chapter. We talk about the fool who, and the lazy man. Another way description of the fool is, as one of my sons would say, you mental? It's meant to be insulting. So if somebody calls you a fool, you should be insulted because it's an insulting term. The ancient Hebrew, which this was originally written in, it was a derogatory term referring to someone who was an idiot, stupid, somebody who had no clue about life. If you told them, hey, don't go outside, it's raining, they would probably go outside in their skivvies and it's like 40 degrees out and raining. Dumb. Okay?
Exactly.
So, not necessarily. But by the time we get to the end of the chapter, it starts out with talking about evil men and fleeing from them and not having anything to do with troublemakers. And it even talks about rebelling against kings. But by the end of the chapter, it's talking about rest. And saying, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. So shall your poverty come like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. So some people, I find it fascinating, and I know this may make me sound like I'm being a butt and not very compassionate, but I am fascinated with people who don't work and otherwise could work but don't, and then they complain that they don't have things. I find that fascinating because there's a direct correlation between honest work and working hard and being rewarded for that labor. And that is fascinating to me, that people who sleep all day, sleep all night, they go hang out with their friends, they don't accomplish things, and then they wonder why they have nothing to show for their accomplishments. The biggest indicator of wealth in life, or prosperity, which Proverbs speaks a lot about, is not making babies outside of marriage, working for a living, and that's pretty much it. So, the righteous man may fall 7 times, this is verse 16, and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity. I'm sure many of you watching this, you may be that person. I know I have been in times past, who gave up after the first try and just went, you know what, I'm done with this. It's not working, I don't want to do it. And then later go, I really wish I would have finished that. Or did a better job, but gave up too soon. A man I know who I consider wiser than me has said it this way. He said, a successful individual doesn't fail. They just keep finding new ways to not succeed. They keep trying, they keep going. And a failure is someone who just gives up. They don't keep trying to rework that problem. So, do we have a comment?
Yeah.
I'm getting this weird hand motion above your head going on, Xander.
Actually, it was not above my head, but Jade Lawman says hi.
Who?
Lawman.
Oh, hi, Mr. Rotman.
I didn't know it's Miss. Maybe it's Miss though.
You said Jen.
Yeah, I did.
I'm pretty sure Bob does not go by Jen.
Well, he could.
So I know the last couple days, Zach and I were actually working on Brittany's car, putting in a new exhaust manifold, and we were having a really difficult time getting the old one out. And there were several times where I just wanted to go, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm done. it's not coming out. I just give up. And I got to give it to Zach because he was like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to solve this problem, and we're going to get it done, and it's going to run so much better. It's going to be perfect. And sure enough, earlier this afternoon, we finished the project, and he did a great job, but he never gave up. We failed multiple times on getting the old one out, and there's probably a better way to do it, but at the end of the day, her car runs so much better now because it doesn't have that exhaust leak coming out of the manifold. It sounds better, and overall it's a good thing. But if we would have been a failure and just gave up, we'd just have a car that wouldn't run right. So you good over there?
I'm fine, mate. How about you?
All right. I'm just
hearing some Christian vibes, you.
laughing at Zayden over there. I would say that 22 gets quoted a lot. You can check out last week's video about training up a child and things of that nature. But 24 has some pretty good stuff in here. He who says to the wicked, you are righteous. That's verse 24. How often do we hear that? How often do we hear, hey, that person, they're a good guy. And their actions show that, well, they're really not. We see this commonplace in politics where, what's the old joke? How can you tell when a politician's lying? You guys know?
Yeah.
How can you tell when a politician's lying?
They always do.
Because their lips are moving. We assume our government leaders and our politicians are just full-face lying to us.
I would do that.
But yet, how often do you see people at the same time praying to those politicians to save them from whatever ails them? They're calling them righteous. And that's how bad things happen to societies. Is getting that flipped on its head. That moral dichotomy of, is it good or is it bad? And generally speaking, once those flip, it's hard to get that separated. So, what's up, Xander?
Oh, Cheryl said great lesson.
All right. Hi,
Amen.
Cheryl.
And then she said true.
So, I think George Orwell may have said it. I think it's referenced in the book 1984. It's loosely quoted, telling the truth in a society of lies is criminal. And no matter what's going on in life, verse 10, if you faint in the day of adversary, your strength is small. If somebody pushes back against you for whatever reason and you just, don't hurt me, shy away, you're not very strong. Xander's been weightlifting and trying to build some muscle mass. Actually, he's been quite successful in building muscle mass. And, when he started, he could get pushed around pretty easily. However, I've noticed that when I push, just play around and shove him a little bit, his shoves are a whole lot more forceful now. Okay, he can kick my rear. You might hear him chuckling. But that goes with intellectual strength as well. One thing I've noticed with Christians, a lot of Christians I know, is when I ask them, why are you a Christian? They generally give one of three answers. I was raised in the church. Something I consider a miracle happened to me. Or the third one is because it's just what I do. Now, if I ask a Muslim that same question, they'd probably give me similar answers. There's an atheist I know that I talk with quite a bit, and he says the same thing, that, is it coincidental you're a Christian because you were raised in a Christian house? My response is, however, none of those three things. My personal testimony doesn't matter. There's only one testimony that matters, and that's this guy named Jesus. He was a carpenter. If you don't know him, I'll introduce you. Okay? which is my segue into what's going on right now. If you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're Jewish, you're leading into Passover. However, if you're a Christian, we call this week Holy Week, and today's Wednesday. So Palm Sunday was last Sunday. Good Friday is this Friday. There's a reason why we call it Good Friday. It's because Sunday. It's Easter. Okay. All right.
I didn't
so
know that.
Good Friday would be a horrible, terrible day because an innocent guy that we have quite a bit of evidence saying he was completely 100% innocent of all charges was publicly executed.
Yes, sir.
That's a terrible day. I mean, quantifiably horrible thing. However, we call it Good Friday because we know the rest of the story, and that is Sunday, there's a big rock in front of a cave, and it might have bounced a time or two rolling down the hill, and Jesus rose from the dead. So, that's the takeaway of Good Friday. And last week here in Pennsylvania, many churches, the buildings were closed. Ours is currently due to health recommendations. So that's why we're doing this live stream.
Corona, Dad.
Coronavirus.
Yeah. And as a result, you probably weren't, if you're here in Pennsylvania, you probably weren't in a church with palm tree leaves and a big festive gathering and service for Palm Sunday, which a lot of churches throughout Christianity, whether that's Catholicism, whether that's Lutheranism, Methodist, Pentecostals, I mean, pick a denomination, most of them do something pretty spectacular for Palm Sunday because it's, one of those big days for us. Didn't happen because, the buildings are closed. One church I know, they had a drive-in church, which was pretty cool. I thought that was really cool. And Good Friday services, same kind of thing. Same with Easter Sunday. But whether the building is closed or not, we still have a way to come to you. And wisdom says, these proverbs say, do not lie in wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not plunder his resting place. For the righteous man may fall 7 times, but he always gets back up. See, if you want to keep a Christian down, the best way to do that is either convince him a lie is true, or kill him. That's it.
Second one's probably easier.
Okay. And a lot of churches and a lot of Christians I know, they've been convinced the lie is true. The basis of Christianity is Jesus. That's it. It's not my testimony. It's not whether or not something miraculous happened to me. It's not because my parents were Christians or are Christians. And it's not because, it's just the dominant religion in the area, so why not? It's because this guy named Jesus was born to a Virgin Mary. He was confrontational with people and told the truth, lived a perfect life, made a lot of people mad at him, publicly executed under false pretenses and false allegations, and then 3 days later, he came back to life on his own, so you and I can be saved. That's Christianity.
Praise the Lord.
Without the cross, there is no Christ. So, you can scoff, you can say I'm a fool, you can tell me I'm an idiot. I'm okay with all of that. But at the end of the day, the only way to find out is when we die. So I can tell you about miracles that have happened to me. I can tell you about miracles that have happened to my family, one of which you can see every day. That's Zach in the other room. When he was in utero, his brain was literally not attached to the rest of his body, not attached to his spinal cord. And then, about a week later, it was attached with no deficits. We have ultrasound pictures to show that, and that's pretty amazing. But none of that matters if this guy named Jesus didn't raise from the dead to save you and me. So we can be the fool, we can stay there, we can, envious evil men, we can devise violence, we can be troublemakers, we can do all of those things, but at the end of the day, it's going to end very badly for us. Or we can simply say, you know what? There's this moral absolute, right and wrong. I don't create right and wrong. The Creator does. And if I follow Him and follow His trajectory for my life, it doesn't matter what other people will do. It doesn't matter if I get to some scary virus. It doesn't matter if I don't. And it only matters if I tell other people about Him. That's it. So you can say this is kind of crazy and a waste of time, even if there's only a handful of people. But those handful of people are people who I wouldn't otherwise have this opportunity to talk to. So with that,
Shale said God is good.
He is. He is amazing and awesome and wonderful. And most of the problems we face in life are of our own devices or not following these ancient proverbs. So with that, if you are under the age of 25 and you're watching this, leave a comment. Let me know how old you are. Because I'm curious. If you're over the age of 5, or over the age of 25. You can also comment with your age if you really want to, but a lot of people I know don't really like to do that. So,
well, no one said anything yet.
All right, but if you are a teenager and you want a challenge, you want to be prosperous in life, whether you're a Christian or not, this book called Proverbs is going to have all kinds of great wisdom for you just in life from cover to cover. There's 31 Proverbs, and when I was a teenager, it was highly recommended to me by some people I knew. Okay, I was straight up told to do it. And that was for an entire month straight, for 6 months, but each month, the day of the month that corresponded with the chapter is the chapter I should read. And I was tasked with doing that for 6 months. So each chapter, I went through Proverbs 6 times. Because there's 31 chapters, a lot of months have 31 days, and then on day 30, I got to read 2 chapters. So if you are under the age of 25, or you just want a nice reading challenge, there you go. Yeah, what's the question?
The pastor said I'm way over 25.
Yeah. I'm almost 25 times 2.
And so did Shield.
So
she said that too.
But if you, I know our public schools are closed here in Pennsylvania on order of the governor.
Sadly.
So if you want a reading challenge to not get that dip, that summer lull in your educational prowess.
I mean, it's not like a gun game, man.
Take on this challenge. Take the book of Proverbs. Each day, read a chapter. As you can tell from this live stream, the chapters aren't overly that long. They're pretty simple to read, and you can read them in your leisure. What's up, Xander?
Kim says I'm a few years over 25.
Carol said that?
Kim Armstrong.
Oh, Kim.
Yeah.
Kim. Yeah. Hi, Kim. I agree. Yeah. Probably at least a couple years, maybe. So, this reading challenge. So, while you're out of school, teenagers, read a chapter each day. I would recommend reading in the morning so you don't forget. So, what day is today? 8th? Today the 8th? What day is today, Zayden?
It is the
8th.
Yeah,
8th? Yeah. So today you would read chapter 8. We could do that. We still got time, by the way, but we're not going to. Read chapter 8. Tomorrow will be chapter 9. So, yeah, what's up, Xander?
Cindy said I love the book of Proverbs.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that one.
Is that be about?
Huh?
Be about?
Is that how you say that? Sure.
Yeah, be about.
Be about. Be about.
I can see it.
Hi, Cindy. So, I like to read all 66 books from the Bible, depending on what I'm reading. But but I gravitate to the book of Proverbs
Just try 3 more
just
books.
in general as my casual reading. I know that might sound weird to a lot of people because but I do. I like the book of Proverbs a lot. That's why in January we started going through it. Also, since we are coming, we're over halfway, guys. Through the book of Proverbs. Before this whole scare happened, I told the teens at 6 Points that no subject is off limits for youth group. So there is not a single thing you can think of, not a single subject matter that you could possibly want to discuss that is not covered in the Christian Bible.
You can challenge that.
And I recommend the challenge.
Oh, I'll challenge it. I bet you can't do electronics in there.
Technology?
Uh-huh.
Sure. Jesus used technology when he gave the Sermon on the Mount because he used natural acoustics in an amphitheater, which doubled as using speakers today.
Yeah.
That was an easy one, Xander.
Uh-huh. How about,
iPhone 11s.
how about sex?
Sex is covered a lot. There's an entire book about sex.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's called Song of Solomon. If you want to get a little flushed in the face and embarrassed, feel free and read the book. I mean, it's pretty racy stuff.
Good. Be cool.
But they were
put my book in full. How about
they
that?
were challenged. We have a box in the teen room that says shout out on it. It's a wood box, and they have been challenged to take either anonymously if they want, or they can put their name on it. But any subject they want to discuss in that box, and we're going to be talking about it. So that goes for these live streams too. If you want me to cover a topic, let me know. When we're done with going through our study of Book of Proverbs, we will cover it. And there's no subject off limits. It wasn't off limits for the anthology collectors for our Bible. It wasn't off limits for God. It wasn't off limits for Jesus. It's not off limits for us. So, it doesn't. One of the subjects was hockey. That was already suggested by one of our teens. And,
I don't
Who?
and hockey is pretty easy to talk about because just like in hockey, you have to train every day. Being Christian is a daily thing. You got to train. Paul talks about the Greek Olympians training every day and being the best at what they were, and how we are to be the same in Christ. So, any other comments, Andrew?
Well,
What
a
happened?
new person started watching a little while ago.
Excellent. Who is it?
Something Holt.
Hi, something Holt.
I don't know how to say that name. It's weird. It's a weird name.
We don't judge you.
Okay.
My 3rd grade read level cannot handle this.
Susanna Holt.
Susanna, that is your great aunt, by the way.
Oh, what's
Hi,
up?
Aunt Sue.
Good morning. Today's a
I think
wonderful
it's
day
afternoon.
today.
Evening.
Well, details.
So we are going to bring this to a close with my favorite proverb in Proverbs 24. In typical fashion, I typically tell you which ones stand out to me. And my personal favorite out of chapter 24 is, right here. I went by the field of the lazy man, and by the vineyard of the man devoid of understanding. And there it was, all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with nettles. Its stone wall was broken down. So, if you like grapes, actually, if you just like fruit of your labor, you got to get out and work. It's that simple. We've been harvesting crops out of the greenhouse. It's great.
Sadly.
But if I never planted those seeds, if we never built the greenhouse, if we never put in the work, we wouldn't have the fruit.
You could go to the store.
I would not put in that work.
You go to the store.
You could, but you still have to have money to pay for it, which means you still have to work.
Boss! Oh, comeback of century.
Well, that doesn't mean you have to work for it. Like,
There's always work. If you want reward, there's always work. So, did you say someone else commented, Xander?
I didn't say that.
Alright. So, with that, that is Proverbs 24. Let me know if you use a different version. I know there's one gentleman at church. I have no idea what English translation he uses, but I know if anybody knows, or if he's watching this,
what's his name, and maybe we can figure it out.
Ron Thompson.
Ronnie boy.
Okay.
I don't think he's
Ron
watching
Thompson in Sunday school. I know it's published by Max Lucado Ministries, but I'm not sure which translation it is.
Sean is not watching it. Oh, he is. I just can't find it.
The version that he uses sometimes has things worded quite differently than the New International Version or the New King James Version, which are very popular. And a lot of times I just find it fascinating, the difference in wording. It's not necessarily a difference in meaning, just a difference in wording and interpretation of the source material. So I enjoy seeing those differences and then working through them. So, are you guys good?
Maybe.
We're almost done here.
We're straight. We're straight.
All right. So, just like at the building, sometimes electronics are a distraction. Also, we have a box we call the phone cage at 6 Points. So.
You did not make one of those.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we just never use it.
So, with that, we're going to pray, and I'm going to bid you farewell. See you next week.
Stay healthy.
But someone just started watching. You gotta redo the whole
Stay
thing.
healthy.
Get the COVID-19.
And
social distance.
And if you have a prayer request, let me know. You can private message me. You can leave a comment.
How about we give like a 2-minute wait to see if anybody comments or prayer request?
Yeah.
All right.
A 2-minute silence. You know, like when you press releases.
You gotta restart the entire thing because someone else just started
1 minute
watching.
silence. Let's do it. 1 minute silence.
So, God, you're an awesome God. Thank you for giving us your wisdom. Proverbs are short, poetic sayings that contain wisdom for life application, often of ancient origins. And, well, you gave us a lot. So, you definitely gave us things to chew on and that intellectual prowess. Also, if we lose track of your right and wrong, then we've lost all hope, and our only hope is you. We celebrate Easter this coming Sunday, which is the resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ, the carpenter from Nazareth, who turned heads and flipped the world upside down, and without him, we would surely be lost. You're awesome, God. Amen.
Y'all need Jesus.
That is a fact. We do. So, as our state youth director puts it, light on a hill, I encourage you to be the light in the darkness of your world. And this is Timothy Holt with 90 and Out and 6 Points Church Youth Group saying, don't take my word for it. Pick it up, read it for yourself, and let me know what you come across.
We be out, boys.
Hey, there's a comment real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Cindy says, thanks for the nice lesson. God bless you all.
Amen.
God bless you too.
Oh, and then there's a heart and then a heart above it.
Oh,
Amen.
okay, cool. All right.
It's on an emoji.
All right, you can comment, continue to leave comments, but what?
That's another comment.
Oh, we got more comments coming in.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Cindy also said Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Cindy.
What's Easter?
As a little plug, if you want some pre-colored eggs, we have 24 chickens. They lay a variety of colored eggs.
We have a whole refrigerator full.
And if you pick it up for a limited time, Zayden is offering social distancing delivery. It's where he takes the egg and he throws it at your car.
That's if you
I
want.
highly recommend a car wash.
That's if you want. You don't have to.
Purely optional, I might add.
$5 for service.
Oh, you're a riot, man. You're a riot. In all fairness, though, if you don't want the eggs thrown at you, I don't suggest asking for his delivery option.
Make sure you want the personally handed.
But it will be pretty funny to watch.
$10 for plus.
Hey, Zane.
$10 every quick window.
All right. We're going to go ahead and conclude this live stream. And stay tuned either later tonight or tomorrow. We will get this uploaded to YouTube for repeat viewing.
Guys,
and
you gotta
can
be
also
Jesus.
come to Facebook. You can also follow me on Twitter. So
Hey, we have another comment
we
by
got more
Sydney.
comments. Hey, as long as
By
comments come
Sydney.
in, we'll keep
It's
going.
like 5 emojis.
Okay.
No, the laughy, 3 laughies, and the 3 laughy crying.
Sounds good.
Does that mean I
Alright.
can throw eggs at your car?
Probably not.
Like $10 if I break the window. But you pay
No,
me $10.
no,
I'm not paying you $10.
no. No damage to property.
No damage to property, just
Alright.
smelly eggs.
So, we will bid you farewell. Stay safe and
Look at the
take
COVID
up that
19.
reading challenge with the book of Proverbs. We'll see you next week. And may God bless you. Don't
What,
take my word
boys?
for it.
Make sure you're not diagnosed with
Have a good night.
We be out.